Ladies and gentlemen, the long-awaited, highly anticipated episode 1. We're leading off with the guy who wears a lot of caps in this town, and he's also the head coach for the Ladue High School Ram Boys soccer program. Dave Aronberg, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, Wales. Episode 1. Here we go.
Yeah,
this
baby.
is your kickoff to the 2026.
You
fall.
got it. You got it.
Love it.
As you are here now, it may be hot, but we're going to try to put you in a cool mood of fall in St. Louis.
Yeah, well, actually, today's pretty nice. I think we got highs in the low 80s maybe, so we're going to take advantage of this weather while we got it.
That's right. Okay, so there's no rhyme or reason, but, I hope you notched out 20 minutes for the whale. And
yeah.
Okay, so what we got going here, I'm putting the cart before the horse, but the high school Champions League, you're in with St. Dominic, Francis House Central, and Vianney. Do I have that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you, as a rule, for the last couple of years, have you taken that pool and talked to it throughout the boys to talk about the preparation that needs to be done?
Yeah, so last year on the boys' side, we were in it, and I always take it not just for the Champions League, but we look at our schedule as a whole before the season starts to kind of make sure the kids know that there's nuance in the schedule. There's differences, and it's not just show up and play a game. There's obviously games that have more meaning than others, and the kids need to understand that. So I look at we circle the Champions League's games, and especially how you start in the Champions League is really important. If you lose the first game, because only one team advances out of the pool, so those early games are super important. Last year, we were actually able to wrap up the Champions League after playing 2 games because we won our first 2 games, and so the third game was a moot point. So you got to get out of the gates hot in the Champions League. And then we go through the rest of our schedule and we look, what's our conference schedule look like? What about teams that are, going to be possible district opponents? Because those games have a little bit more meaning for who wins and who loses. And so you kind of make sure that you are appropriately geared up for the games that are going to matter a little bit more. If you try to go 1,000% in every game, you're not going to make it to the finish line. So, you have to kind of plan accordingly for the season.
Okay, let's ask that big elephant in the room to move over a little bit. The ICE 170, whatever the name.
The inner belt.
Yes. The inner belt with Clayton.
That's always a game we circle.
Yeah. Is that a home match or over there?
This year, gosh, now you're putting me on the spot. I think we're at Clayton. I'd have to look again. I think we're at Clayton. Right. It's a little different. We've been in the same conference these last couple of years, so that game has meant it's been double important, right?
Wow.
Because not only is it a rivalry game, but it's also a conference game. This year, we're going to be in different conferences, so it takes it a little bit out. But it's always, Ladue, Clayton. I don't know. That's a game I never really need to stress the importance to. The kids are going to bring their focus in that game. In fact, typically when we play Clayton, I have to kind of almost downplay the game, or else our kids get maybe too amped up.
Wow.
So we actually played a friendly with them in the summer. I think the rivalry, when I went to Ladue way back in the day, we hated Clayton. I mean, there was a hatred. I don't I don't know if that is there anymore, which is probably a good thing.
Oh yeah,
It's still a rivalry, but I don't think the hate is there. So it was a nice friendly we had in the summer, and competitive, but there wasn't nastiness going
yeah,
on. So
yeah.
that's good.
Okay, well now you go. You got to expose it now. What is your conference and who's in it?
So we do in the suburban high school conferences. There are, I think, 32 suburban schools in the St. Louis area, and so what they did. This was around COVID time, maybe right before COVID. Instead of doing it geographically, they have tiered the conferences based off how good your team is on all the sports. So I really like the way the Suburban Conference goes about it. And so there's a 2-year cycle, and however good your team does in that 2-year cycle, you will then either move up, move down, or stay in the same conference. So the top conference in the suburban conferences is called Suburban Yellow. They're all colors, which I don't know if there's rhyme or reason for the colors of it, but because we did well in the Suburban Red, which was the second tier conference these last 2 years, we moved up to the Suburban Yellow. So we're playing the likes of Limburg and Oakville and Summit. Marquette is in that Suburban Yellow. I might be forgetting one or two schools, but it's a killer conference. Every game is going to be super competitive. And then because there's only, I think, maybe 6 teams in that conference, we round out our non-conference schedule with a lot of the teams from the second tier. So we will still be playing Clayton and Webster, who are in that second tier suburban conference. But it's nice. It's very tough to win conference. I think last year we won conference for the first time in years, and we've had a very good program. But that speaks to how tough it is to winning conference in all of these suburban conferences.
Well, I tell you, you really had to be looking. Well, you got your head underneath the rock if you didn't realize how good the suburban conferences are and have been.
Yeah, I think I was kind of trying to keep track of how suburban schools were doing, the public schools against private schools, and in these last couple of years, when the suburban schools have played the MCC schools, which are always top notch, I think it was like a 500 winning percentage. I mean, it goes back and forth. So
Yeah.
I think 20 years ago, MCC would have had maybe 80-90% of those wins, but the playing field is leveled. So when when you got a big time MCC school versus a big suburban school, it's going to be a good game.
All right. So after you get out of your pool play, because you were in Pool A, I believe. Well, anyway, you get out of your pool. You play the winner of Chaminade, Parkway West, Kirkwood, and Summit. Do you look that far ahead of who you play to get into the semifinal?
Honestly, I don't,
Okay.
just because it's so hard to get out of your pool. So, I mean, the nice thing is we've seen a lot of those opponents before, so that's not something that's going to be out of the ordinary. But I mean, like I'll go back to last year. We had to fend off CBC, Fort Zumwalt West, um, Vianney last year. That I wasn't looking past those games. I was when that schedule came out. I'm like, golly, it's gonna be hard for us to even advance. And then we ended up playing SLU, who had a team of the ages last year.
Yeah, man, they really
So
were good. God.
yeah, I mean, I don't. I try not to look ahead in that case. You gotta really focus on just surviving and advancing out of your own pool first.
Right.
So that was our focus. I think I look at our pool again, and St. Dominic's always good. They'll be under new leadership now, so that'll be interesting to see kind of what changes that brings. Vianney again, we have a rematch of state championship game from a couple years ago. So there's intrigue intrigue there. Francis House Central, we played them last year. The game went into overtime. I mean, so that's always a really strong program.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll have our hands full, as should be the case in a Champions League game, right? Like
Oh
they should all
yeah.
there are no easy opponents in
None.
Champions League. Nowhere to hide.
That's right. And so that brings us to there's it's July, towards the end of July. Do you already have it in the books of when your first regular season matches on?
Yeah, we start up at the end of August. It's I think 27th, 28th, somewhere around there. We actually go up to Quincy, Illinois. We've been in a little tournament up in Quincy to kick things off for probably over a decade at this point. I love it. Great tournament. Quincy Notre Dame runs it now. It used to be run by Quincy High School. Quincy Notre Dame took it over. There's very good soccer in Quincy. I'm not sure how much the listening audience knows about that, but Quincy has a really rich history in soccer, and there'll typically be maybe two teams from St. Louis that go up there. I think this year Limburg's also going up there, so we'll see Quincy Notre Dame, we'll see a Chicago school up there, and Limburg will be the teams on the slate. And it's a really great way to kind of see what we got early on. I like to play lots of players in that tournament, see if the young kids can hang, and we go from there.
Is it an overnight stay?
Yep, we stay for a night, do some really good team bonding. It's great. There's been years where we've had to miss it because of scheduling conflicts, and I actually think it really puts us behind. Like having that tournament at the beginning of the year is a great way to kick off the year.
Okay, so the last couple years have been a total sea change in the amount of days that you're able to practice with the team, or are they able to work out on their own, so to speak?
Right.
Have you, made a recipe yet, a schedule where you this season you had a grip on it?
Yeah, our summer stuff is rolling right along. We were able to have 20 contact days, and in those 20 contact days, you can treat it however you'd like to treat it. You can run it like a practice. You can divide it up. You can play friendly. So what we do, we basically meet twice a week. Our schedule this year was Monday, Thursdays, and we go for about an hour and a half. And I really kind of lean into the fun of it. Our kids are traveling in the summer. I'm not making anything mandatory, but we get there. We get a little bit of technical training, and then depending on the night, we'll divide them into different teams, and we try to make it competitive and fun. So we'll play maybe small-sided games, different drills that really make the kids compete. And sometimes I'll even mix it up. So you'll have incoming freshmen that are playing on teams with seniors, and just again try to see what they can do. But the kids have really bought in. This year, I think we're averaging 55, 60 kids a session, and it's been great. So we've had very competitive sessions. I think it really sets the kids up for tryouts. Because back in the day, we wouldn't do anything in the summer, and then you show up and you basically have 3 days to show how good you are. And I think in that setup, kids can get maybe overlooked. So having the summer to really get to see these kids, it makes the tryout portion a lot less stressful for the kids. They've had 20 opportunities to show us what they can do. So it doesn't come down to a 3-day tryout at that point.
Wow. Well, under full disclosure, does your select balls keep air?
100%. Oh yeah, 100%.
All right.
My favorite.
Yeah, yes, they are. And so here it comes now, where you're putting that preseason in. Do you play what they call those? What the hell they call? Kumbayas of
Friendlies.
well, friendlies, but they have where you play a half. There's like a
Oh, jamboree.
yeah, that's what
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we'll do a jamboree. So that's after the season starts. Second week of the season, we've been in a jamboree with Principia and Burroughs now for many, many years. Um, and so we're planning on doing that again. Another.
Those are full matches, correct?
No, it's not a full match. You were right. So you
Okay.
play if you have a 3-team jamboree, you will play each team 35 minutes.
Wow.
35 minutes versus Burroughs, 35 minutes versus Principia. So it ends up being not even a full match, but it's a little dress rehearsal for what you can do. And I like to make sure everyone plays in those jamborees, and we try to get to see kids in different positions. It's nice after playing against yourself for the entire preseason to go out and play
Okay.
some other teams. So yeah, I love jamborees. That's great.
All right then. And so now, what about besides the thunder and the lightning, which is mandatory? Do you like to go inside and you know use some futsal, or do you like to go indoors, or with that sun has it been a problem, or how do you work it out?
I, I don't. I mean, we go inside if we have to, but you have to also realize it's a numbers game, and so we have 90 to 100 kids in tryouts. You ain't gonna do anything with 90 kids inside a gym. So if we do have to go inside due to weather, we really have to split things up. And I've got some go-to stuff that we do inside. We can still get some things effectively done inside, but it's not ideal. So we try as best as we can to get our training sessions to be outside.
Have you hired a designated goalkeeping coach?
Wales, that is something that it's been so hard. There's been out of all my years coaching, I've had maybe a goalie coach for 3 or 4 seasons out of all my years coaching.
Yeah.
They're hard to come by, as you
Yeah.
might know. They are hard to come by.
Yeah. Okay, so now you got, before I forget, this past season, are you up to the season of an All American Scholar athlete on your team?
Do we have an All-American scholar? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, or did you just?
Um, so maybe not All-American because United Soccer Coaches Association, they do the All-American
Oh,
one.
okay.
But we do the Missouri puts one out, so it's a Missouri State Scholar, which I always think is a huge award because to
Yeah.
win that award, not only do you have to be good on the field, but you have to be great in the classroom.
Right.
And so every year we typically have 2 or 3 that make that list. And I think it really points to how great these athletes are. And I think soccer, especially, I'm not usually chasing kids down to do their homework. It's usually kids that are great soccer players are also very motivated and organized and on top of it in the classroom. And so I'd make a point to really highlight when kids win that award because it's super tough to get on that list with all the great schools and athletes that we have in Missouri. So
Yeah, man. It's right on, Dave. I mean, it's real. Wow. It's really stunning when you witness it. Wow.
yeah, I mean, Wales. If you went through our soccer teams, like the amount of kids that are high-level soccer players, and it's not just my team. There's teams all over the place, and then also have a 4.0. I mean, you're like these these are not just dumb jocks. Like these
No.
these are
No.
cerebral. And I think the studies now we've had enough research to show that kids playing sports actually helps them in school. I mean that this is why we can take this as we can zoom out the lens. I mean, we need high school sports, and kids should be playing sports in high school because the studies show how much better you do in life, in academics, if you have that discipline from playing high school sports. So it's one reason I'm very passionate about the high school game.
And rightly so. I mean, you can't, your lying eyes, however that story goes, you can't lie to your lying eyes.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but the deal was, it's right there in front of you. You say, man, there's no way this can go. And it's really something. So I'm right with you, and I hope.
Well, it can, Wales. That's the problem. That's why I'm so vocal. Like, we can't take it for granted, you know. So I do think there are sometimes people are like, oh, it's never going to go away. Well, it can, if we don't make sure we're vigilant and make sure we are staying on top of things. That's why things like the Champions Leagues are so important. That's why making sure that we get the best possible playoff scenarios are so important. This is all leading to making high school sports relevant and have that longevity. Like, we don't want them to die, but so you have to fight for that. If you
Well,
become complacent and you don't do anything, then yeah, it can go away.
and my head actually spun when it's all sports.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Every sport has got a battle every time.
Football's a little insulated. They might be the ones, if they get hit, they'll be hit last. Just because there aren't really club football teams at this point. But yes, club softball, club basketball, club baseball. Like, you go down the line. It's the battle is the same in every sport. Soccer is just the first to get its head bashed through the wall. So we are experiencing things maybe 5 to 10 years quicker than other sports are experiencing them.
Well, on their full disclosure, you've just been witnessed to a real original thought that came through my head right here, right now. I don't
Mark
want to take a
mark it
moment.
on the mark it on the calendar. Okay.
Please, please. Oh, man, I'm almost forgetting what I was thinking.
Oh, sorry. Go.
Oh, damn it. Oh, about, say, like 5-on-5, 7v7. There's that cat down, Dave Wilson, down in Florida. He's
Right.
he's trying it out. What is your thoughts, about any of that?
Are you saying, like, for soccer, like more like a TST kind of model
Yeah,
type deal?
yeah.
I think it's great. I think when you look at what we do, what I was just talking about in the summertime, like, those small-sided games are great for development. I still am unsure, like, if that's the end goal. So I've heard people talk about, like, well, let's start a TST league. I don't know. Like, to me, those small-sided things are kind of fun in a one-off type of event. I don't know if I would follow a small-sided league type deal. So I don't know if that's the end game. But I do think it's a great way to make the game interesting and keep things lively. Good stuff, obviously, in training. So I guess that's where I kind of fall on the matter.
All right, then. And last 2 points, and then we'll have our closing. Is have you found, uh, especially in the last couple of years, with the people that come about, with the preseason, the way it's contact days and stuff, that you are witnessing the leadership qualities of a player, that born leaders, that you see someone who, possibly an alpha male, or not even an alpha, just but able to be a real leader on that field.
Oh, yes. And I actually think what I really like about the summer in terms of that question is to see how the young kids step up. I think a lot of times seniors who have been in the program kind of know what's up. Maybe they're a little comfortable. They don't feel like they have to show all that stuff. And so when you get seniors who really show up in the summertime, that speaks volumes. So you can see who your leaders are based off of how much do they care, how much do they, how much do they want to show the young kids, what should happen. So that stuff starts in the summer. I think sometimes kids think you start showing that you want to be a captain when tryouts start. Well, no, that stuff starts well beyond or well before that. So um, if a kid hasn't shown up all summer and then they show up day one of tryouts and they think they're going to be a captain, I think that's they're probably not understanding the process right. But then you also have these young kids. I have I have some freshmen, sophomores, hungry to make the varsity team and using their voices on and off the field in the summertime. I mean, they're getting comfortable playing with older kids, and um, I think that's really important. I mean, and you want a bunch of kids that are comfortable communicating on and off the field. So the summer has really helped advance that.
Okay, then. All right. So here it is, Dave. Testing. Are you here?
I'm here.
Okay. The situation comes is whatever you want to say to who you ever want to say it to for as long as you want to say it for. This is your chance, Dave. Opportunity.
Well, shoot, Wells, how many times have I been on this one now? It's been multiple times. I don't want to be a broken record and say the same thing. I'm just really excited. I think we had a very good team last year. We won state 2 years ago. We did just graduate 17 seniors, so this is going to be a year of a lot of new kids in different places. But I find myself very excited. The possibilities are really exciting to see with all the youth coming in, and that's one of the beauties of high school is, great players graduate. I get to see them in the alumni game, which was really fun. We did one of those a couple weeks ago here in the summer. That's probably maybe the highlight of my year when I get to see alumni come back and play our current team. And then those kids, they want to leave their mark on the program so that when they come back as alumni, they're able to have some bragging rights. So it's one of the beauties of high school sports is just getting every year kids that are hungry to leave a little legacy for Ladue.
Wow, man. I'm pumped up. I'm ready. What time's practice, man? I'm ready to hit it. All right.
Hey, we're still looking for a goalie coach if you'd like to come out, Wills.
All right. So here it goes. Is that you have hit it out of the park. It didn't a lot of thought because it's the universe selected you to lead the way for the high school coaches in the St. Louis area. So thank you, David, and good luck to the Rams, baby. I'll be watching out.
All right, I appreciate it, Wills.
Okay, and so you know that I know that you know this has been well certified. The Rams are well certified preseason 26. So best to you and yours, Dave.
All right, we'll be talking.
All right, bye-bye.
I bet.